Hi everyone, it's AlyMew. I actually asked a fellow YouTuber maybe 3 to 4 months ago about this topic, and he said it's something I shouldn't talk about. But I'm at the point where this is a commentary that I think is needed and very important to my heart. So, the title, Don't Die, Live Please, is talking about suicide and how important a person's life can be, like yours or mine. I think that at some point we get to a low point in our life where we don't want to exist. At least I did. There are times when I feel like I can't talk to anyone about my issues because even if they listened, they might not understand. Or when I talk about it, people are really not concerned about it. They just go like, yeah, well, I don't know what to say. That being said, I rarely talk about my troubles if they can't even help me anyway and they don't even care. And I know I mentioned and said plenty of times that I'm usually the listener. I actually listen. Like I don't do anything else but sit there and listen to the person's story, and I try to give advice. Any kind of advice. Anyway, there was some point in my life where I wasn't exactly happy with my life, and I was stuck. I wasn't moving forward, and my living condition was really bad. I was living with my sister. This was during the summer when I was overjoyed moving to a new condo with my sister and my adorable cat, Kiro. I soon learned that that was a terrible idea. My sister would find some random chore for me to do. I already vacuum and wash the floors every week. She expected me to do it almost every day. I'd run on errands, throwing out the garbage, taking the recyclables, and picking up groceries, washing the dishes, and other things. And I felt whenever I was doing my homework or trying to game, she would come in and demand me to do something. Whenever she would come into my room or talk to me, it was more so of a, hi, how are you? And then what she wanted. And even till today, she would say hi or call me and tell me what she needed. And I don't know, me and her on weird terms, like, I don't even know how to explain it. Even when I see her in person, I even try to talk to her about, the stuff I'm doing on YouTube, and she would, literally go like, and yeah, so I don't even know what to do. Anyway, going back to the story. She also, if I brought in my friends to the condo, she would use it against me to do a chore. She'll say, I put up with your friends, so you're gonna have to do this. And she also brings friends herself, and I don't have a problem with them because, hey, more people the merrier. And what's really funny is when we first moved in, she sat me down telling me to be celibate and don't get pregnant. Fast forward 6 months later, my sister was feeling sick. She was puking, unable to keep her food in. She had gotten pregnant herself. I automatically knew I had to leave and move out. She even told me that I could stay and be the babysitter, and why not? I would be staying in the same room as the baby. No, thank you. Anyway, I wasn't really upset. But I just thought it was really bad because it was unplanned. I already moved in all my stuff. It was a lot of work to get all my shit from my house or my parents' house to the condo. Anyway, it got really bad because, whenever someone's pregnant, they will want a lot of things. And she demanded me to do even more things now that she was pregnant. She was telling me, oh, I have to go get something in the middle of the night. I would actually walk all the way to 7-Eleven because from where her condo is, it's really far from 7-Eleven. I would have to go there to get something in the middle of the night if she really wanted something. And there were other things where, because she's pregnant, you can't say no to her. I also have this thing, if someone's really pregnant, they get up from their seat and give them, a place to sit if you're on the train or bus. Anyway, she even started nitpicking and yelling at me for eating food in the fridge. She was telling me that I can't even eat any, she's like, oh, well, you can't eat anything in the fridge. I don't know why. And she also told me, there's certain ththings like, oh, this specific ice cream that you bought, don't finish it, don't even eat it. I don't know what was going in her mind. There's just certain things, it's weird. And I can't even, it's so weird to talk about it. Anyway, even, with that, she even called me fat because I was eating the stuff in the fridge, which I don't even really understand since, I'm buying groceries for her. It's not like she got it herself. Anyway, this was also pretty much before I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, and I felt like my world was crashing. I was having problems at home, and the other, one person that I would used to run to was controlling my life, and, that was not cool. This is when I wish I could disappear. Suicide did come across my head, I'm not going to lie. I tried telling my parents about how my, situation was really bad, and of course, being Asian parents, no matter what the younger sibling would say, the older sibling would always be right and be perfect in their eyes. And my parents already marked off or written me off as the fail child. And my mom would actually probably insert right now, and not only am I a fail child, I'm a fat fail child. I don't know what is it about Asian parents, especially Asian mothers, to tell their daughters that they're fat. Anyway, moving on. My Jijima, or aka my great grandmother, is the one thing in my life that probably, instilled in me positive, the positive aspect of me. She died at the age of 97, and she left us when I was in middle school. But the memories I have of her are very, very vivid, and I really enjoyed spending time with her. She lived in southern China during the 1920s and 30s. Well, I don't know her real age, but I know around that time, that's probably like when she was 21. And she was able to go to school and college, which was rare at the time because women were perceived as staying at home, being a wife, and don't learn stuff, or women didn't deserve to learn things. But her father was very well her father was very well educated, and the family was wealthy. I don't know her name, my great grandma, but in Cantonese we call her, great grandma in Cantonese, Tai Pa. When World War II happened, the Japanese was invading China, and stories of how the Japanese were slaughtering and raping women were, being spread out, and especially in her area, they got wind that the Japanese were heading there, and my Tai Pa and other women in the area she was living in, actually, they were running, escaping all the way to the mountains to hide. She even told me that they were so scared that they rubbed dirt on their faces to appear older, to, I guess in hopes to deter the Japanese from raping them if they found them. She, definitely escaped from that. She survived, obviously. I'm here. And she, later on she got married. She had my grandma. What I found out recently is that my Tai Pa actually adopted my grandpa, or her son. It's actually a rare thing for Asians to adopt, especially, or Chinese, especially during those times. So it really it made me more proud of my great grandma that she was able to bring in some other person into the family and treat them as their own. But yeah, fast forward the time. My Tai Pa made this decision to move all by herself to America for a better life, and for, her kids, and her kids. And what's really interesting is that she didn't know English, and I'm pretty sure Chinese money, if you convert it to American dollars, is very low. And she was living in Manhattan, in Chinatown, and she stayed in a cathedral, and she didn't have money, or enough money, to live on her own, but eventually she moved out and got to an apartment. And I really can't explain how much I feel for her, because it's really scary to move to a different country, and especially to not know the language at all. She eventually did get her own place, right? And she was sending back money to help out her children and also get them over to New York City. She was also sending money to other relatives. And with funny side tidbit, I remember my mom would kind of yell at my great grandma, because I think at 90 she was still sending her social security money to our relatives in China, or like really distant relatives that we don't even know. But my mom knows that those relatives actually they don't need the money, and but they still accept it. They're not very humble about it. And it's like my great grandma is old, and they're still accepting money. And on top of it, they're actually using it to bet, like play mahjong, which is not exactly the best thing. But yeah. Anyway, moving along. Like I said, I really think my Taipo is like one of the most unselfish person that I know in my entire life. When my mom and dad came to America, they stayed with her. And not only that, when I was born, she even took care of me. My parents did move out with my sister and I to live in our own house. And I remember visiting her in middle school after my violin lessons to be babysat by her. And I think what I remember most, which is really odd, is sitting in the dining room and with like Jesus, like a painted picture of Jesus overseeing the table, and I had to pray before a meal, which I wasn't used to. It's always awkward when that happens, and she tells me, "Hey, do you want to start the prayer?" Another side note is that my Taipo is Catholic, and I'm going to be very clear. Please do not mix religion with anything. Like, I respect everyone's religion. I am not religious at all because my family has so many different religions tied in. I don't want to pick anything right now at all or anything. So anyway, I think I was a really weird child, and I still think I am. But I remember she used to ask me if I was happy, and I would always say no. And I would tell her that I wish that I disappeared off of Earth. And one day when she asked me that, she was like, "Sally, sit down, let me talk to you." She's like, "You should really appreciate your life." And especially, she told me what I told you, at the beginning of the commentary about how she survived. And, she's like, "Well, I survived this long and you're alive because of me, so definitely appreciate your life." And then she also told me about how I came to be. She told me that I wasn't really exactly supposed to live or be alive because so what happened is my mother, after giving birth to my sister, she became pregnant again. But in China, you can only have, at that time, one child, and she had to abort that baby, or whatever the fetal thing. And when my mom moved to America, she was pregnant twice, and they're both miscarriages. And if any of these babies before I was born were successful, I would have never been born because my mom only wanted 2 kids and she would have stopped. So it's the most freakiest, oddest story to hear at the age of 13. And, it really made me, step back. My great grandma survived World War II. And, my mom had to abort a kid, and then she had to, get 2 miscarriages, and then me. Like, that I don't know, it just, blows my mind all the time when I think about it. And, she was like, whenever you feel really down and, just don't want to live, she's always telling me, there are other people who have it worse, of course. Not only that, she also told me that being alive is probably the most best things in the world, and you're not sick, you're perfectly healthy. There are people who have clocks, above their heads, and that are, they're sick, they're gonna die, anytime soon, but you're healthy. You can do things with your life. And because she told me this at that time, when I was really down, and when suicide kind of crossed my path with my sister, and also about to break up with my ex, with all those issues building up, I thought about that. And I was like, I can't do that. I need to think positive. Even during the most darkest times. Just think about the positive things in your life. And how your ancestors worked so hard to keep you alive. Wake up, enjoy your life, because here you are, healthy. Do something with your life. Just live.